King Charles and Andrew didn't get on when they were young but have now bonded through grief. King Charles is said to be warning his brother that he will sever ties with the disgraced royal if he refuses to leave his 30-room mansion. King Charles and Andrew didn't get on when they were young but have now bonded through grief, according to a royal commentator. This comes after there have been reports that the king would like Andrew to move out of his 30-room mansion and into a smaller property. It has been reported that Charles has been urging his younger brother to vacate Royal Lodge and move into the smaller Frogmore cottage that was previously given to Meghan and Harry. Speaking to GB News, royal correspondent Kinsey Schofield said, King Charles could threaten to sever ties with Prince Andrew if the non-working royal refuses to leave Royal Lodge to relocate to Frogmore Cottage. The Times are citing an unnamed friend of the king. That friend claims that the king said he is willing to pay for his brother to live comfortably out of his private funds from the Duchy of Lancaster. However, that level of funding needs to be appropriate. There's another quote in this piece that reads, unfortunately, if Andrew refuses to leave within a reasonable time frame, then the king may be forced to reassess the whole package of support that he provides. And the Duke would be required to fund the lion's share of his security, accommodation and lifestyle costs all on his own, which, given the sums involved, is highly unlikely to be possible in the long term for Prince Andrew, who is unemployed. They stressed that there are limits of patience and tolerance when it comes to King Charles, and after multiple eviction conversations. A friend of the king has warned as things stand, life at Royal Lodge is set to become increasingly cold and uncomfortable for the Duke. GB News host Mark Dolan said, "We know that there's embarrassment on the part of the king about Andrew's controversies, including his ill-advised friendship with convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. But what do we know of their personal relationship? Do the two men get on, Charles and Andrew?" Kinsey responded, "I mean, they didn't when they were younger men, but I think both of them softened in their old age. Especially towards the end of their parents' lives. I think that they've bonded through grief, but the king's ultimate objective is his legacy and how people interpret him as a leader. And I think he understands that Prince Andrew is a liability." The Duke of York, 64, has the lease on Royal Lodge, but Charles controls the purse strings. A royal source claimed, "The king's kindness is not without limit and there is a very good option for Andrew to move into Frogmore Cottage, recently vacated by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, which also has the benefit of being within the Windsor Castle security cordon, hence reducing the need for alternative round-the-clock security for Royal Lodge. He is taking longer than desirable to recognize the reality of the situation, even though it is clearly the most sensible course of action. If he doesn't agree to move to a property better suited to his needs, then the king may have to reconsider the levels of support he is willing to provide. Rather than a grace and favor residence, Royal Lodge is let under a commercial lease agreement with the Crown Estate. A friend continued to tell The Times, "The facts remain the facts. He's got a long lease on Royal Lodge. The family has lived there for 20-odd years and still has 50-odd years to run on the lease. It's in perfectly good repair because they spent the lion's share of the sale of their previous house, Sunninghill Park, renovating it from top to bottom. thereby saving any draw on the public purse or the private finances of the royal family. Them's the facts.